the letter from the Republican lawmakers warning that any nuclear deal could be temporary shows disintegration in Washington. During a meeting with clerics in Tehran, the Ayatollah Khamenei said the letter signals the collapse of political ethics. He went on to say he is now worried about nuclear talks with the West, quote, because the other party is deceitful and cunning and stabs in the back, unquote. He also had some very harsh words for the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and for American lawmakers about the Prime Minister's speech to our Congress last week.
After a Zionist clown went there and made some remarks, American officials made some comments to distance themselves, but they also accused Iran of supporting terrorism. This is ridiculous.
Well, over on Capitol Hill, Politico reports that some Republican senators were caught off guard by the backlash they received from the letter. Arizona Senator John McCain said it was kind of a very rapid process. Everybody was looking forward to getting out of town because of the snowstorm. And he went on, I think we probably should have had more discussion about it given the blowback that there is. The White House and some Democratic lawmakers have denounced the letter from the GOP, saying it could potentially damage America's relationship with Iran. Let's bring in Fox News contributor Jillian Turner. She served on the White House National Security Council under both President Bush and President Obama and has looked at this thing with dismay. It is hard to imagine that this has happened.
You know, the most detrimental thing this letter has done from a national security perspective is to highlight for the entire world just how fractious and dysfunctional Washington politics has become. You know, we simply cannot conduct robust foreign policy abroad if we're not able to, a certain degree, speak with a unified, streamlined voice. And that's what the Ayatollah has said, and he's right.
Has anyone said that to these Republicans in the Senate? Is there an adult voice somewhere that might be able to come down on high and say, stop it?
Well, you know, the Washington sort of foreign policy-making community is largely in agreement here that the letter was, you know, at best misdirected, and that it really exposed the kind of messy underbelly of partisan politics. Whether anyone is actually pointing this out to the 47 senators that signed the letter is another thing.
Talk about the kinds of damage that this sort of thing can do.
I think it's a mistake for the United States to think that the rest of the international community is not watching, is not aware of the poisonous political climate in Washington, and to think that this isn't going to have long-term consequences. You know, our adversaries and allies are going to look for ways to exploit the situation and turn it to their advantage. We saw that with Prime Minister Netanyahu. We're seeing it again now, and it's only going to get worse.
It was largely suggested to me by people out of Washington that this letter was mostly for domestic consumption. This was for the base. I don't know how much more food the base needs. I mean, the base should be well full by now.
Yeah, and you know, at the end of the day, the recipient of this letter was not the base here.
No.
You know, Iran's president, the foreign minister, and the Grand Ayatollah all had basically the same reaction, which was the letter is a personal affront to them, but is also an affront to the entire Iranian government, you know, because it insults their knowledge of U.S. foreign policy and of international law and other things. So, you know, they should have kept that in mind when sending this letter.
Do we have a shot at an agreement still? Or is it your belief that in the end, the political opposition to the president who got the deal done will take it down no matter what happens?
I don't think that ultimately all of this kind of hullabaloo will impact the deal, whether or not we strike a deal with Iran, but I do think that the efficacy of this deal, as we all know, is up for grabs, whether it's signed or not. You know, sanctions are still threatening, the issue of sanctions is still threatening to kind of topple the entire process. We still are in large part depending upon verification measures, which is not going to be terribly effective with this rogue regime. So there's a lot of different things at play, but ultimately I don't think this will be the thing to take the negotiations down.
All right, I certainly hope not. Jillian Turner with us live from Washington. Jillian, it's great to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you.